Sickness strips away control. Entering a hospital means handing your physical and emotional safety over to strangers. It is an environment defined by vulnerability. On the other side of the equation, medical staff operate under pressure to make life-altering decisions. A single miscommunication or unrecorded detail creates a legal opening that threatens the entire organization. To manage this chaos, the General Authority for Healthcare Accreditation and Regulation, GHAIR, developed the 2025 Patient-Centeredness Culture Standards. While the term patient-centeredness is often associated with bedside manner, these GHAIR standards serve a clinical purpose. They act as a rigid operational shield against risk. Implementing these standards creates a mutual protection framework. By enforcing strict rules around communication and environment, the framework safeguards the patient, the staff, and the facility. The first pillar focuses on the patient. The standards guarantee rights that eliminate the anxiety of the unknown, such as knowing your treating physician, having transparent access to care, and understanding service prices upfront. Patients also have the specific right to voice complaints or offer suggestions without fear that doing so will negatively affect their treatment. This protection extends into the physical environment. GHAIR survey guidelines mandate that waiting areas provide comfortable spaces and access to clean, potable water. During treatment, privacy is a requirement, not an option. Staff must respect patient dignity during every clinical interview, physical examination, and medical procedure. The system requires operational flexibility. When a patient has specific religious or spiritual needs, healthcare providers are expected to modify traditional care plans and schedules to honor those preferences. These environmental protections and personal rights shifts the patient's role from a passive subject to a protected participant in their own care. A functional culture requires a two-way commitment. The second pillar protects medical staff by enforcing strict patient responsibilities. GHAIR policy requires patients and their families to provide clear, accurate medical histories and maintain respectful behavior toward all healthcare professionals. Enforcing these boundaries prevents staff members from being held liable for negative outcomes that stem from withheld information or non-compliant behavior. Operational armor is further strengthened through informed consent. Formally documenting that a patient understands the risks and alternatives of a procedure provides a verifiable layer of protection for the medical team. The same logic applies if a patient refuses treatment against medical advice. GHAIR policy requires documentation proving the patient was informed of the consequences, shifting the legal burden away from the provider. When boundaries, mutual responsibilities, and consent are explicitly recorded, healthcare staff can perform their duties with the security of a documented legal defense. The third pillar protects the hospital as an entity. The standards require active leadership and multidisciplinary committees to oversee the entire facility's culture. This leadership manages a structured feedback loop. Facilities establish communication channels to capture patient grievances, then aggregate those localized complaints into systemic data for hospital-wide improvement. Collection is only half the process. Organizations must operate with documented timeframes for responding to the patients who raise the issues. The standards also mitigate physical risks. Surveyors verify that facilities have explicit policies for securing and recording patient belongings. Standardizing the storage of personal items prevents disputes, reduces theft claims, and lowers the facility's overall financial liability. Organizational resilience is achieved by transforming physical risks and localized grievances into tracked data, allowing leadership to address systemic failures before they escalate. These three pillars create a direct cascade. When staff members operate with the protection of documented consent and clear patient responsibilities, they can focus their attention on providing attentive, dignified care. A patient receiving that care is more likely to provide constructive feedback, which the organization then uses to continuously refine its internal systems. Adopting GHAIR's PCC standards hardens the entire facility against litigation and error. It functions as a comprehensive risk management strategy. It moves the facility away from a transactional model of medicine toward a collaborative ecosystem where every interaction is logged and bound by mutual respect. By following this framework, the facility treats illness while simultaneously securing the safety, legal rights, and dignity of every person inside the building.